So people, moving on to the second point with regards to the first house. As you can read it out here, I'm very lazy when it comes to reading. Anyway, map of your entire life, most powerful house in Vedic astrology and the Vedic chart. So what the second point about the first house is that it's the map of our entire life. It's the map of, it's the picture of our entire life, that what is the likelihood of events that are going to take place in our life, how good or bad our life's gonna be. And this house is considered the most powerful house in Vedic astrology. And you know why? Because this is the house that belongs to you. Whenever we cast a chart of a person, a Vedic chart like this comes up. But this first house solely belongs to the individual for whom the chart is cast. So it's the chart of self, the individual who is in question. So this house is designated the status of the most powerful house in the Vedic astrology, and leave alone all the rest of the 11 houses. If this particular house, the first house of an individual, is scrutinized properly and it is dissected properly, of course, there are a lot of elements that go into dissecting a house properly, which we'll be probably discussing in the near future. But if this first house is dissected properly, it can probably reveal 30 to 40%, at least to a fair percentage of 30 to 40%, that how good or bad your life gonna be. And if you remember, for some of those who are still hooked on to this episode, I know this episode is turning out to be quite lengthy, but it's important also. So as I told you, that first house is the house of both your outer self and your inner self. So it is the house, when I say of inner self, it is the house that determines your traits and qualities. It's the house that determines that what are the things that you like and what are the things that you hate and detest. So if we were to sum this house, if we were to compositely sum this house, then I could term it as a composite sum of what you are inside and what you project yourself to the outward world. What are your basic sensibilities that you possess? What are the essential qualities that you possess? What are your interests and inclinations? What is your outlook towards life? And if you are incarnated as a human in this life, what is the main motto? What is the main purpose that you are here to accomplish? Are you here? Have you taken the birth on this planet Earth because you want to garner the wealth, power and wisdom by your efforts or by any means? Or are you here to live the life of a saint or a monk, and you want to access those mysterious and the spiritual realms? Or are you here to be somebody who has who wants to make a name in the glamour industry, who wants to seek recognition, who wants to seek huge fanfare following, like most of these big shot business tycoons, or people associated with cinema, people associated with sports have. So it's the house that dictates all these things. So guys, moving on to the third point with regards to the first house. Well, first, I'm feeling very dried up. Let me have a glass of water. Meanwhile, you people look at the points that are laid out here. That was quite relaxing. So the third point in Vedic astrology with regards to the first house says that it is very important for the first house of an individual to be placed in good dignity. Yes, it is very important for the planet that is placed in the first house and the first house itself to be placed in a very strong dignity in a person's chart. And the reason why we are saying so is because first house is the most powerful house in Vedic astrology, and like I told you, it's the house of self. It's the house of self that makes it the most important house, and it is the house that, if scrutinized and dissected properly, can actually reveal 30 to 40% picture of our entire life. So if this house of any individual, that is this first house of any individual is very well placed, then for sure is the fact that that person will enjoy a prosperous life for the majority of his life. Now, depending upon which planet controls the first house, or what's the planet that is placed in the first house, the prosperity could have to deal with anything. It could be, if your first house is well placed, it could be a prosperity of health, it could be a prosperity of wealth, it could be a prosperity of wisdom, that is, it could be a prosperity of enjoying good health, that is, rarely falling sick in life. It could be a prosperity of being endowed with the riches in the world. It could be a prosperity of having those prudency and discretionary levels to take the wise decisions, having that business acumen. Now, what exactly do we mean by the word prosperous? Prosperous in general means growth of some sort of the other, and it is a growth, and growth is summed as the fulfillment of your own desires. So it could be prosperity related to love affairs, even it could be prosperity related to studies. So whenever you are, if your first house is well placed and it has got to do with the prosperity related to love affairs, so you might naturally attract the opposite sex, or the similar sex partners in your life that will help you in some way or the other. Either you will meet the partners who will lift you to a higher level of self-awareness, self-consciousness, or you would get a girlfriend, you would get a boyfriend, and your situation would be like, hey, I have the marketing acumen, I am very good at marketing, and you have your hold over finance. And if we club in both these energies, then we would become a lethal weapon in the market, and we would be invincible and insurmountable. And this is how you slowly start a venture that grows up the ladder, constantly. So, or it could be somebody like you get a partner who may not be as adroit, who may not be as as studious, as intelligent as you, but just because that partner loves you truly, his presence being there behind you, his love gives you the strength to come out of the chaotic situations whenever you are stuck in them. Now here's the thing, what if the first house, that is, we are taking into consideration, what if the first house and the planet that is placed in the first house of an individual is very strongly placed, but all the rest of the 11 houses, that is, these all 11 houses are badly screwed? What do we make out of that scenario? Does that mean that just because the first house of ours, that is considered to be the most powerful, since that house of ours is very beautifully placed, does that mean that those 11 houses won't have any effect on us, won't be going through any torturous times, any hurdles, hindrances, obstacles? No, absolutely not. If your house is first house is very beautifully placed and the rest of the 11 houses are screwed, there could be situations in life where, let's suppose, you could suffer from a disease as deadly as cancer, or you could be insulted and you lose your self-confidence and self-esteem, or there might be a situation in life where you may go bankrupt for a period of 5 years, let's say. But what this presence of this powerful, strong first house would do is that no matter how chaotic or how big in itself was the hurdle that you got yourself into, but you will ultimately come out as a winner out of it. So suppose if you lost your self-respect, so no sooner will you be able to regain that self-esteem, self-confidence, and no sooner will you be able to make yourself popular in life. So if you went bankrupt for a period of 5 years, in the 6th year when you come out, of something would happen that either you, because of your own efforts, or somebody else would come to your rescue, that in that 6th year you will amass that much amount of fortune, wealth, you will get that much amount of luxuries and comforts in your life that an average man would not probably even able to amass that much amount of wealth in his entire life. leave alone a single year that you gonna take. And if at all you suffer from a deadly disease like cancer, then even if it's a third stage cancer, yet it may affect your body to a great deal, but ultimately if your first house is very powerful, that's for sure that even after even after getting subjected to all that struggle, the debilitation of body, losing your hair because you were subjected to the chemotherapy and the other medication that is used to treat cancer, but ultimately you will get out of it. And when I talk of this, I can give the example of a person like Yuvraj Singh. Now he's not known for the flamboyance and the charismatic aura that person was actually known for. Neither is he known for the finesse with which he lofts the ball, or neither is he known for the world records that he has made in the being a member of the Indian cricket team. But he's more known for the fact that when his career was about to end, since he suffered from cancer, that not only did he recover from cancer, but he actually got a place back into the Indian team. He is respected as that sort of a dignified person. So I am not saying that Yuvraj Singh is Yuvraj Singh has his first house well placed. I haven't had a look at his chart till yet, at least. But this could be a similar kind of a situation, that no matter what the trouble, but ultimately you gonna come out of it, and you will come out of that trouble mostly because of your own efforts, because of the own sheer hard work that you put in. Because first house, as I told you, is the house of self. So if you gonna amass that wealth, if you gonna amass come out of that cancer, if you gonna gain your self-confidence and self-esteem, prestige, fanfare following back, you will probably do out of your own actions, because it's the house of self-efforts. It's the house that solely belongs to you. But in case your actions doesn't do the needful, you will somehow attract situations in life wherein something or the other will turn out in a way that it will be able to pull you out of that shit that you are stuck in. So you better look at the planet that is placed in the first house to see as to if your own efforts, let's suppose your first house is very strongly placed and the planet there is also very strongly placed. So and let's suppose that the planet that is beautifully placed in the first house is Moon. Then it could be your parents who might be helping you come out of that chaotic times you might have got stuck in. If there is a planet of Jupiter, Jupiter is a planet of wealth, luck, luxuries and comforts of life. Jupiter is a planet that is associated with philosophical and the spiritualistic wisdom. So you might come across a guru or a teacher who might instill in you the philosophical and the spiritualistic wisdom that may help you maintain the tranquility of your mind while you're going through that more torturous phase in your life. And since Jupiter is an advisor, is a minister to the king, as I told you, so what can happen is that you could probably be friends with somebody or meet somebody who could be an advisor to you, who could be a wealth advisor to you. And while you might be going bankrupt, he might give you an advice to invest your money in these ventures, and you will all of a sudden it will be a rags to riches story. Or if you have a combination of Jupiter or something like Saturn, or this sort of a combination in the first house, then since these are the planets that are associated with the mystic dark world, so you may come across somebody who might be a monk, who might be a saint, seeking the spiritual realms, seeking the access to the unknown world. He could be a Vedic astrologer, he could be a Reiki master, he could be a pranic healer, he could be a person well versed with the the other world energies, and he may totally open to you the access to all those realms that are beyond the comprehension of a normal individual. And it is those heavenly blessings that you obtain through those saintly people that may help you come out of that trouble. So if not your self efforts, if your first house is well placed, then circumstances would be such that you will end up into situation, you will land up into situation, or something might happen that ultimately you will come out of the trouble you were stuck in. And now coming to the last point with a sigh of relief. Well, the fourth point in the Vedic astrology, when it comes to the first house, what it says is that this not written in the Vedic text. This is the point that is crafted out of my own experiences. So it says the mistake made by the Vedic astrologers when it comes to profession. And yes, Vedic astrologers, whenever one goes to a Vedic astrologer as to finding out or deciphering out which profession would that person recommend this person who has come for consultation to go in, wherein he could get success, or otherwise, if a normal man would go to anyone who is adroit with the science of Vedic astrology just to figure out which profession he would go in, then what the big mistake most of these Vedic astrologers and those people who are half adroit in the science of Vedic astrology do is that they lay 100% emphasis is on the 10th house, this particular house, the 10th house, that is considered as the house of profession, that is considered of the house of profession, reputation. And yes, it is actually the house of profession. But what I have seen in my studies is that when it comes to deciphering out that which profession will a person actually venture into, it's the first house that is to be scrutinized properly before jumping onto this 10th house, because first house is the house of self. It is the house of your own efforts. It's the house that determines what are the things you like and what are the things you hate and detest. So as the law of attraction says that you probably attract things in your life that you consciously think, or you think on a subconscious level. That is, you're consciously not thinking of those things, but they are there ingrained within your personality. And what does the first house? It is exactly what the first house stands for. It's the house of self. How good or bad you feel about yourself, wherein your interests and inclinations lie. So whenever it comes to deciphering out the profession, first house should be given the prime importance, and then one should jump onto the 10th house, which is the second most powerful house in Vedic astrology after the first house. So guys, with this long episode, we end in with the first house in Vedic astrology. And although it was a long episode, this was very, very essential to make it long, since this is the crux, this is the gist of Vedic astrology. So guys, this is your host RISHU signing off. And if you like my video, please don't forget to subscribe below and be a subscriber to my channel. Till then, have a happy day, and do whatever you want to do, whatever that makes you happy, whether it's gunning down a chick or it's sitting in a temple. So on that note, I say goodbye.